Hello, we are back. It's been like 10 months. Sorry about that.
It's been that long?
I think so.
Oh.
Our bad.
Sorry.
We had our 2018 wedding season. It was amazing, super busy, but it was also the first year with our son Woodrow.
Holy crap, that adds another level of...
Was busy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're finally getting back to making YouTube videos, and this is the first one for you, so enjoy.
Mm-hmm. First question made sense to me. What camera gear did you start on, and what are you shooting on now?
Okay.
Remember this camera?
I remember it well. So we've been doing this wedding thing for a while, and we started back, in 2006, pre-DSLRs.
We were very young.
That's right. We started young. We're not old.
We're not old. Like, we're not that old.
So we started on the Panasonic HVX 2000, and it was big and bulky and shot on these P2 cards that were very expensive, and you only got like 12 minutes on a card. But it was awesome because it was the first camera that shot 24 frames per second, which I was in love with that look and really wanted to push that filmic look. Anyway, it was a great camera. We rented some other cameras, but that was our main thing. Oh, and for a while we had to have, since it only shot so much footage on the P2 cards, we had to get a hard drive that you had a FireWire cable, and you had to like wear it on your hip. It looked pretty cool.
Anyway, there was that when you first started.
Yeah.
And when you started, I kind of carried stuff for him in the beginning. So I looked a little bit cooler. And then he graduated to DSLRs.
Yeah, we got the 7D first.
7D, that's right.
7D and then the 5D.
But when you had that going on, you were like, you know what I need? A Steadicam, and I need to wear it on a vest, and I need to have an arm attached.
I think that was still with the Panasonic cameras.
Of you.
RoboCop. It was like a full Steadicam rig, not very lightweight or nimble.
Or attractive.
Anyway, so we shot on DSLRs for a number of years. That was great, and getting used to using fixed lenses and all our primes and all that. Mm-hmm. And then a few years back, we switched to the C100s. We have two of those amazing cameras, and recently we picked up the Canon C200, which we made a video all about if you want to watch. Link, YouTube thing. Are
you actually going to do it? I hate when they're like, I'll put a link here, and then no one puts anything there.
I'll put it there.
Okay. This is a question for you.
Okay.
What is your wedding edit workflow?
Okay. Without going too crazy in depth, first up, after a wedding, pull all the selects of B-roll. So I put all the...
Don't go to bed.
That's
no
right.
No matter how late.
Sorry. Put all the B-roll down on a timeline, pull all the selects, all the footage that I think could possibly be used for B-roll. Then go do the doc edits, the multicam of the ceremony speeches, first look cards, any of that stuff going on. And while I'm editing that, I take notes and even lift out some parts that I think could be useful for the highlight film. And then I kind of start just chipping away and narrowing it down from there. And then after pulling those like story bits, I'm like, okay, now I can narrow down the B-roll to make sure it's story applicable B-roll. And it's helpful. And then, I'm going to add one more thing. Then another plus side is if later on a couple adds another film to their package, all the selects are already pulled, so I can just jump right in and get to creative editing.
And I bring him snacks.
Thanks. And you approve everything.
I do. How many cameras and shooters do you shoot on?
You should answer this one.
I do know the answer. There are two of us. Ooh, we shoot together.
Yeah.
Just the two of us. Unless back in the day when we were doing same day edits, we'd have a third shooter. Yep. But we took those off the table because they're awful to do.
They're not fun. And we'll have three cameras at certain parts of the day.
I wasn't finished. You said I got to answer.
Wow.
We'll have three cameras for certain parts of the day, like for the ceremony usually. We'll have one of the back of the aisle, and then we each have one on our person.
So I'm going to ask this one. Struggles of being a wedding cinematographer and having a newborn?
Oh, there are many struggles. But I think, there's struggles with anybody who is working and has a child. I think the biggest difference for us is when you need childcare, it's not on a weekday and it's for like 15 hours. So it's really hard to find people who are like, yeah, a whole Saturday in the summer, no problem.
I just finished my busy work week. Yeah, I'll take a kid for 12 hours.
Yeah. So that's I honestly think the hardest part. And then the other hard part is, and that's just like, this is just parenting in general, but I'm new, so it was new to me, is that when your wedding ends at 12 p.m. and you get home at 1 and you upload footage for 100 years and you get to bed at 2, your child still gets up at 6:30 and he doesn't care that you feel like you want to die from the wedding hangover, which is a real thing.
So I started drinking coffee. Okay, another one related.
Yes.
Travel essentials for traveling with your baby.
Right. I forgot to mention before, traveling with with your baby when you have to go to a wedding, that's one of the big struggles too.
It's pretty tough.
I feel like the biggest essential that you would need for traveling with your baby is childcare. This is literally the story of my whole last year. It's like, oh my gosh, childcare. Because every situation is different. It's always a weekend in the summer again, so people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to go.
Sure.
So
and I get it.
Yeah, travel essentials is like a wonderful sister.
Yes.
Or sister's friend.
Cousin.
Sometimes parents will help
somebody.
you, sometimes. And then I feel like beyond that, like it's more just like booking an Airbnb as opposed to a hotel that's child friendly and like has an area that your kid can play in and is safe. Because if you like hotels are really hard to stay in when you have to do naps and stuff for another person to deal with it.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
I know.
It's going to be interesting. We have a trip to Iceland coming up in a few months for a wedding.
One of the best weddings ever. I'm so excited.
So pumped. But
It's a
we
struggle.
likely have to bring our boy, and we want to. And Iceland will be we've been there once, and it's beautiful, and he'll love it. It'll be so fun. But the flight, it's a good 7 hours from Vancouver, where we are. So that'll be interesting, but it's been done. We have friends that have done it. So.
Yeah, but their baby is half the size of our baby because he's like 32 pounds in a year. So I don't really want that on my lap for some time.
We'll let you know.
Yes. If you want more like specifics, like what things do you bring, just shoot me an instant message and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty standard. How do you work with photographers?
Okay.
AKA photographers.
This is a big part of the wedding day for us, and it always has been. We weirdly, like from the get-go, starting out in 2006, like took this very seriously, especially because we were intimidated. Video wasn't nearly as popular as it is now.
Yeah. And we were new and we were babies.
That's true. So we always make it a huge point to be frequently in touch with photographers. If you can reach out to them before the day, that helps a ton too, just to be friendly and establish like, hey, you know what, I'm not one of those videographers you might have heard a horror story about that just ignores you and does whatever they want, puts tripods everywhere, anything like that.
But that's everyone's experience.
We hear a lot of horror stories, and it disappoints me because
You're
like
giving us a bad rap, you jerks.
that, but also like if you are a good person and work with the photographer and be a team, like it goes so far. Like hands down, our biggest referral base is photographers.
Yeah.
And we're like really happy that we have a good reputation around our market, that we are really good working with photographers, and I don't think it's that hard.
There's no excuse ever for photographer or videographer to post up at the top of the aisle for the whole time. I don't understand. That's a thing we hear a lot. Like, oh, the videographer, he just set up his tripod at the top of the aisle. Bride had to walk around him. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
And just like, there's no room for ego, so just don't be that like, oh, my job's so important. Like, the couple is what's most important. Make sure that you can make your best work for them without sacrificing the other person's work. And even just throwing out to photographers like, hey, what can I do to make this part for you easier, or like during parts where you're not exactly super busy, help them out. It goes a long way. I could rant forever on this.
But we love our photographers.
Vancouver and everyone we've
a
worked
good
with, but
community.
Vancouver's got like an incredible community of photographers. So we're very lucky.
Pro photo.
Okay, so tips for getting new clients? ? Be undeniable. Do the best possible work you can do, and it'll happen. Just put yourself out there. Put your best work out there. Like Aaron said, be friendly to vendors. Make their jobs easier. It'll happen.
And I think, like, if you really make what you want to make sure you're always true to your own style, because then it will attract people who want what you do instead of being like, I just need a videographer to do something else. And
Don't
then
hop
that's
on all the trends. Be unique.
Unless the trends are something that you're like, that's what I want. That's fine.
Totally.
But
try not to, like, it's okay to be inspired by other videographers, but don't be like, oh, I'm going to do that exact thing and try and copy them.
Yeah.
There is an element of emulation that, like, helps you learn. That's totally fine. But don't, I don't know, be yourself. Be unique.
Be you. You do you.
How do you work with couples?
Oh, well, so the way that we shoot is very hands-off. Again, we want our couples to enjoy the day as they would as if we weren't there. So a lot of our working with couples happens before the wedding day. So we try to get to know them as best we can in a couple of meetings and through asking a lot of questions on like a over email.
Yeah, like stuff that it's, what's important to them on the wedding day, what's important in life, and just getting to know them on like a human level instead of just a bride and groom, because that really helps us get a well-rounded picture of them for their story, because we want it to be it's a story about your wedding day, but it's a story about these two people and coming together.
And if they're confident and comfortable going into the day being like, oh, they know who I am and what I love and what I'm excited for on my date, then on the day, like they can enjoy it.
The best part is if you're super prepared, like especially with how we work, we don't stage anything, like we don't rehearse any moments unless it's like absolutely necessary, but that's extremely rare. Then we can know where we want to be before certain moments happen. We could be super prepared and not have to restage things or anything like that. Just because I feel like couples will watch their film back and be like, oh, I remember standing there for this moment that the videographer needed. Then it's, for the viewer and for the couple, it's real.
They are not actors. They are people trying to enjoy their wedding day. So.
Totally.
What software do you use?
Another techie question, therefore I answer. It's we use Adobe Premiere CC. We have for a long time. We like it a lot. We are debating switching over fully to Final Cut, which we own and use sometimes, but we're not fully on it just because of the performance enhancements with Apple computers. We're thinking about doing it. Soup's boring. I'm boring
really
myself.
Exciting. I'm really excited about it. How do you structure your storytelling? Do you prepare beforehand or do you just go with the flow?
Why don't you answer this one?
Okay. We kind of touched on it earlier. Like we by getting to know the couple and like what's important to them and what they're excited for on their day, we kind of know going in what moments we really want to focus in on. And so during the day, we gather our footage with that in the back of our minds.
Totally.
And so then when it comes time to actually tell the story afterwards, you can talk now.
It's kind of like research. If you research your main characters of your film, it might seem like it's a waste of your time or it's like, oh, I'll figure it out. It goes a long way if leading up to the day you meet up with your couples or even Skype. We do lots of Skypes, especially now that we have a son. Mm-hmm. It goes a long, long way in addition with the questionnaire to just know who you're shooting, what the story is before you even roll the cameras. If you can learn so much about the couple and then on the day be looking for certain things, it can really enhance the story. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we structure it kind of both, like you said, a lot before, and then we let the day kind of affect us, wash over us.
Ew.
I'm keeping it in. And then that makes a better film.
Yep. We feel like, everyone's
to each his
different.
own,
So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any additional questions or something we said didn't make sense, that's very possible.
Yeah.
Feel free to message us or comment or whatever you want to do.
So that's it. Thank you, and bye.
Bye. Do I need to walk on frame? Just grab all my stuff.